Welcome to Podcast Crusaders. I am Worst Panther, and today I'm joined with Crusader,
Hello.
Dark Shogun,
Henlo.
and this is going to be a bi-weekly podcast where we kind of talk about entertainment news or basically stuff that's just going on with us, right? So, like today's episode, we're going to be talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because Crusader here, he just finished watching parts 1 through 5 and read part 6. So if you don't know what JoJo is, I'll let Dark Shogun explain that.
Okay, so JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a long-running shonen manga and anime series started in the 1980s by Hirohiko Araki. It is known for being quite bizarre in its own right.
You said it. End podcast, that's it.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
the
you. Thanks for
name.
coming.
Yeah, roll credits there. And has been praised as being one of, if not the most influential media to come out of the anime and manga industry. Well, in terms of Japan at least. In America, it's slightly different.
Dragon Ball.
Essentially, it's Dragon Ball, but in Japan.
All right.
That's the best comparison I can make in terms of its influence. And so far, the series has gone through 8 parts, the 8th one currently being published.
To end, who knows?
Taking,
It could be 10 years, could be 10 minutes.
spoiler warning in case... actually, no, I'll leave that for later.
No,
Basically,
that's...
it's about a family of, or a bloodline rather, that goes
The
through...
Joestar.
Yeah, the Joestar bloodline that
Calling a
goes
wacky
through...
dude.
Yeah, just a bunch of big boy muscle boys that turn into little boy
Jabs.
muscle boys. In various time periods with various plot lines, characters, and bizarreness.
Yeah. So, if you haven't seen JoJo, you might not get a lot of this podcast because we're not going to explain every individual part because otherwise we'd be here for the next 2 hours.
To more than
So,
that, bro.
what we're going to do is we're gonna let Crusader take us away. Crusader, what did you think of JoJo?
Like introduction. Like, what was your
It's
first
good
initial
show. I
experience?
like it very much.
All right, that's it.
No, seriously though, at first I was really hesitant to start it because I knew that if I got too deep, I'd become this crazy fanatic. And now I was right.
You're
I'm a
yourself
fucking
in
crazy
real life.
fanatic now. My whole life revolves around JoJo. It's completely enthralled me, and I'm just fucked.
I mean, fair enough. So-
As all of us have become.
So we're gonna start with part 1, Phantom Blood. Crusader, first impressions.
Like, first couple episodes. What was your opinion on it?
First couple episodes, well, the first one, in general, the very first episode, fucking weird.
Some might say it's
It was just,
bizarre.
I don't know, there was a lot of things in like the very first few episodes. Like the first 3 episodes were really great. It was a really great introduction to the characters and to like, what was to come as a whole. So,
Episodes
I
4,
say
5, and 6, though.
Episodes 4, 5, and 6.
That's
Like
where...
pretty much the
shit
best
hit the
part
fan.
or the worst part of part 1 is the road to Dio and like getting to him. Like everything before and after that, like pre-Vampire Dio and then actually fighting Dio was amazing. Like part 1 was great for those aspects. It was just actually getting to the end of it and getting to the final fight.
It was
just-
agonizing.
Yeah,
It was
that middle.
agonizing. It felt stupid. Like there was a part like when JoJo first got his Hamon and then like 10 minutes later he mastered it, and I'm
Yeah.
just it was weird transitions, and like the pacing was a bit weird at times. Like there'd be times where like again, like I said, he mastered his Hamon instantly, and it was like he'd been training for years. It was a bit confusing halfway through, but then it got to the end and it was worth all the confusion and the headaches.
I mean, my biggest thing with part 1 was like the first 3 episodes, right? You're kind of revolving around this one place, like the Joestar Mansion, right? And so you learn the characters there, and you start to build them up, and you have that first fight with Dio, right?
Mhm.
That kind of puts it into perspective how kind of weak JoJo is, right? And of course, episodes 4, 5, and 6, he gets his helmet, and we fight these 3 random knights that we don't care about or we don't know, right? Which is one of my issues with part 3, which we'll get onto later. But like you could take those 4, 5, and 6 episodes out, and the only thing you miss is like a character death. That's it.
Literally, yeah, like that bit where they had the
Actually, wait a minute.
backstory on the knights. I skipped that. Like, I
Hold on a minute.
it.
if you skip 4, 5, and 6, you don't miss anything. Because
No, I mean, like,
you miss
the
like
character just
absolutely
dies.
nothing.
I meant like in the actual episode where they show like the flashback to like Queen
but-
Elizabeth. And shit.
Yeah,
I just
with,
No,
like,
yeah,
Buford
but
and
even if
whatever
you skip
his big
4
boy
through
was.
6, you don't really lose anything.
Like, my
Which I know is
biggest,
Harrison's skip parts, but
my biggest issue with Phantom Blood, right? The substance in it, I thought was above average. Like, it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't it wasn't bad per se, right?
no, like by no means is it like a lol, that's bad, like 4 out of 10.
Yeah,
It's just when you compare it to the rest of JoJo, right? It pales in comparison.
yeah. Well, all the stuff that happened and everything, even like the fights and all, pretty much all the stuff of like, it's hard to
Just part
explain.
one.
Pretty much most of part 1, I would say, is an above average show. Or, yeah. My biggest issue with it, right?
Mhm.
The characters are just
Jonathan.
so boring.
Except for Speedwagon.
I can lift
What a
this rock without an issue.
Like Jonathan, especially Jonathan. I understand why people like Jonathan.
Like
He's a wholesome boy.
He's
yeah,
a very
but there's
polite
nothing
man.
else.
That's
That's,
I get.
which it works. Like the way they do it works.
Yeah, because
but it doesn't
him and Dio
bad.
are complete opposites.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that it makes me like him anymore, right?
Yeah, that even in what I consider to be the best shonen anime of all time, even in Hunter x Hunter, right?
Mhm.
When you're introduced to Gon, he is extremely bland. He's just happy-go-lucky all the time and super nice and everything. And I don't like that type of character. I tend to like shows a lot more once we're introduced and given characters with layers to them and different moods and everything.
No, yeah. Like
That's why most
Jonathan feels like a very one-beat character, whereas the later JoJos have a little more to them,
yeah, especially
Like, they have-
a select few.
which we will get to later in this podcast.
Indeed. Crusader, what was your opinion on Jonathan Joestar?
I love Jonathan so much. Like, no, listen. Like, I love him because I just feel like, he pales in comparison to the other Joestars because everyone else is an asshole. Like, every other Joestar is an asshole, and Jonathan is the most wholesome boy. But I feel like
Giorno isn't really part 5s.
I feel like his character, like Araki, does not know how to write anybody that's not Japanese, at least at the time, because he just sounded so weird. And I don't know if it's just because it was the time and the setting that made him sound weird. Maybe Araki's a genius for making him sound the way he does. But there was some times where I'd be watching and then like Jonathan would say something, I'd just be like, shut up.
No one talks like that, fool.
Yeah, the dialogue in Phantom Blood is very over the top, even for JoJo standards.
Yeah.
Like, Speedwagon is the essence of over the top.
Oh, but he's amazing. God, dude. I mean, think about it. Without him, none of the parts happen.
Yeah,
Think about
I
it.
guess. Yeah.
Without Speedwagon, Jonathan just dies.
that is very true.
Right. Part 2, like, they never even figure out how to stop the Pillarmen because they don't have Speedwagon to lead Joseph to Lisa. Part 3,
They're
Iggy doesn't join the
screwed.
group to take the hit for Polnareff.
Hey,
Part 4,
spoilers.
Oh my God, this whole podcast is spoilers. Give it
we're
up.
literally going through all of JoJo. If you didn't
But
think
yeah,
there were spoilers,
Yeah, you're completely right. Speedwagon and his company later on, they play
I
a
think you mean
surprisingly
this
important.
corporation.
Yeah, the corporation run by God himself. Surprisingly, they play a bigger part than than you'd ever expect from just watching Phantom Blood.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing as well, right? Like how far JoJo went, right? Like think about it.
Yeah.
Part 1 is about magic asthma versus vampires, right?
And then you flash forward to part 8, and it's about a guy who has 4 testicles that has to regain his memory.
Yeah.
And it's like, am I still
Yeah,
reading the
exactly.
same
I
thing?
read part 8! Ah!
Bro, you
It's
learned that in the
first-
first chapter, it's fine.
Yeah. Anyway. Well, consider final verdict on part 1.
Out
got a
of
10.
what? Out of 10?
Out of 10.
We'll give like a general summary of it as well. Like,
Yeah, give yourself like a little like a 10-second review.
yeah.
It's
Longer,
good,
as long as
but I
you
feel like the pacing sucked, and it could have been better if it was written today.
Fuck.
But
Alright.
because it's so old, I feel like I don't think it aged well.
Okay.
So I'd say I'd give it probably 5 or 6.
5, 6, or 10. Alright, that's fair.
It's fair.
Armando, refresh yours. What did you have?
Okay, so, part 1 for me was semi-entertaining for the most part, but I like a lot of times I felt bored during it. Not to say that the part is like going to be boring for everyone, because it's not. There's a lot of people who consider part 1 to be the best part of JoJo, which, while
They're
I
wrong.
completely disagree,
I mean,
as I
what?
consider it the worst part, I can see where they're coming from, especially because it's like the start of it all and everything, right? And Dio is a very engaging villain, despite being fairly one-dimensional in part 1.
Yeah.
Overall, like if I were to rate it as a seasoned anime watcher who's experienced a lot of shonen, I would rate it about a 4, maybe 5. But in terms of just in general and written and everything, like if I'm like just from pure quality, it's about a 6.
Okay.
It's just my enjoyment that brings it down a little more, because I've seen similar conflicts done better, and characters
Okay.
were really bad.
Except for Speedwagon.
It's like
Yeah, Speedwagon God. Now you.
for me at least, like first 3 episodes of part 1, I think are phenomenal. Like not like 8 or like 9 out of 10 episodes, right?
Mhm.
It's
Maybe
those
not the first
middle.
episode.
It's those middle 3 that really bring it down, right?
Yeah.
Like the first 3 have like you're introduced to characters, right? You're introduced to setting. You're in this world now, right?
Mhm.
And then 4, 5, and 6 just feel like almost like filler. Like they don't contribute to the plot, right?
Yeah, it's more
Because
just like
I mean,
Jonathan
with the exception of
showing off
Jonathan
Hamon.
learning Hamon, right? Besides learning that, what really happens there? So like, but then like the last 3 are also really good because we get this final confrontation with Dio and whatnot, and we get this setup that's gonna like just carry the show for the next two parts, right?
Mhm.
But like, yeah, I gotta agree with Crusader, like the pacing as well.
Yeah, the pacing.
One thing that I think goes unsung in JoJo, like is like the original soundtrack, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I know, like the character themes are all meme and whatnot, but like even just
They're
the individual like
even
pieces,
Jonathan's
right?
like Jonathan's is super underrated.
Oh yeah, like I'm not even just saying like that, but like just like
character themes
just
in
the themes
general?
that just play in the background, right?
Yeah.
Not even character. Like part 1 had really good. The only part that I think beats part 1's soundtrack is part 5, which we'll get to later.
That's a very
Ooh.
high bar though. Part 5 is
Oh, yeah.
incredibly
Oh, yeah.
very well done
Well,
in terms of music. Also,
Yeah, I'd probably end up giving it like a 5 or 6. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm with
also,
Crusader on
there is one thing that I do want to interject before we start talking about Phantom Blood.
we just finished
Talk
talking
about
about
Phantom Blood.
Yeah, just a little tidbit after the fact. The
Okay.
ending where Jonathan is killed.
Who bites the dust?
That is the perfect way to end Phantom Blood.
I agree.
Like,
Granted, like even if they kept him alive, it wouldn't have done anything because he wouldn't even be in part. Well, I guess he technically could have been in part 2.
He would have lived forever with his Hamon.
That's Joseph. But like the fact that he died when he did, especially like if you're familiar with the tropes of shonen, and especially like Phantom Blood's inspiration, which is Fist of the North Star, you wouldn't really expect that to happen.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't when it was being serialized in the 80s. That was extremely
Yeah.
shocking to most people.
Yeah.
Which,
Like, and the fact
Oh
that he
no, yeah, it was really shocking because I was watching it on Netflix and there was still 17 or 18.
yeah.
There's still 60
like,
episodes
wait.
of it. That's a thinkers.
But like,
yeah, it confused the shit out of me.
honestly, I think the ending of Phantom Blood is a masterpiece ending for that specific part.
Yeah.
That's
I
my
mean,
projection.
I think it's also poetic how, Dio and Jonathan are fighting this whole time, and then they both go down together.
With mutual
Or did they?
respect for
On
each
to
other.
part 2, battle tendencies. Where using the mad lad Joseph.
Where JoJo's Bizarre Adventure really puts emphasis on bizarre, as the main character mows down a coffee shop with a Tommy gun
In the
he stored
first
in
episode.
with a Tommy gun he stored in his coat and a belt of grenades.
Crusader? Crusader? Part 2, what was your first impressions?
It was a fucking first impression was that it was nothing like part 1 at all.
It's a wild ride, dude. It's a roller coaster.
I was expecting something a bit similar at least, but then I got deeper into it. I was like, yeah, no, it's never going to be like part 1 ever again. This is a whole other show I'm watching now.
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
much.
one thing I thought about part 2 was like, part 2 does something that none of the other ones can do. Is like, it puts you on a roller coaster, and the roller coaster never stops, right? Like, with part 1, you have those 4, 5, and 6 episodes, right? Part 3 will get to why, because it's like all episodic, right? Part 4 has a couple of episodes in the middle that kind of don't do well.
Especially
Part
one
5.
which I really want to highlight when we talk about that, by the way.
And part 5 has a spot where it specifically slows down, right? Almost for the sake of this, right?
Mhm.
But part 2, you get on and it's just, you're gone. See ya, sayonara.
It is, in my opinion, it embodies the bizarre nature of JoJo the best out of all the parts, except maybe part 8.
I agree. I said I haven't seen part 8 or read part 8, so.
Mhm.
But I agree that's one of the most bizarre parts.
Yeah, it's like especially the shift from this sort of Castlevania like fantasy world that was Phantom Blood, and then
To Indiana Jones.
yeah, Indiana Jones and the muscular dudes.
and steroids.
Indiana
And the Pillar
Jones,
Man.
Indiana
Oh,
Jones, and the
dude,
gay
Pillar
three-way.
Dude, the Pillar Man, like those are just such the over the top villains.
I love them so
you
much.
ever see in entertainment, right?
I love
Like
them.
at least Dio is like, he's like just a vampire, right? Like, all the other villains have like motivations. These guys just like,
After thousands of
Yeah.
years crystallized in stone, they break out and instantly strike poses.
yeah, exactly.
They were crystallized in a fucking pose.
yeah.
Like how
just
badass
so-
do you have to be to do that, right?
You
Like-
would think they would have they would have been crystallized in like some kind of Han Solo thing where they were like, they weren't like they didn't want to be crystallized, but no, they were fucking looking badass.
Ready to go.
Like I
It's
want to
like-
die like that.
They're
So-
also such the perfect villains for that part, right?
Yeah.
Like, was like the chemistry between like Joseph and Caesar, like that, like just it's just wild. Like I don't know how to describe it. It's just crazy.
Speaking of him, Joseph
Really?
Joestar.
Oh, what a mad lad! What
I
a
love Joseph
mad
so much.
fucking lad!
Joseph's great.
He's
Although
probably
I'm
like
gonna-
my second favorite Joestar.
I'm gonna give a unpopular opinion. Well, it's probably popular opinion, but part 2 Joseph is my least favorite Joseph.
You take that back.
It's not that I didn't like. I still love part 2 Joseph. It's just he's better in other parts.
I think the
I
worst
think the other way
Joseph
around.
is part 4. He's underused.
Which one? Part 4?
Part 4.
Yeah.
He had no place.
You
in
saw
part
the
4.
entire part, but well, what?
He had no place in part 4. We'll get to that later.
Yeah. Crusaders like building up Iran. He's writing a list.
I am, yeah.
So
So-
we have this awesome new main character who instantly starts off extremely likable and awesome. As I mentioned before, just pulling a Tommy gun out of his back pocket and mowing down a coffee
Oh.
shop to kill one dude.
I gotta say as well, he uses Hamon so uniquely compared to Jonathan. Granted, Jonathan's the first part,
Yeah.
being introduced, right? But like literally the first scene of the show of like the season,
With
right?
like the Coke
And-
bottle.
Yeah, and he like whips out a Coke bottle and kills a dude with a bottle cap.
Well, he
Does
breaks
he
his
kill him?
finger. He snaps his finger.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say he doesn't kill him. He's a police
That's
officer.
Yeah, it was a police officer.
What do you think, Chief? But yeah, like
oh,
there's that. You see all these just interesting ways they use it, right? Just over the course of the part. And okay, episode episode 6 or 7 of that part, right? So basically, context of the scene is Joseph goes to Italy, right? And he meets Caesar, and they go to train under Lisa, who's like a Hamon coach, and they get thrown in this pit, right? And there's an oil pillar that to climb, right? That episode was so well crafted that it might be one of the best episodes in anime.
I love Caesar so much.
I guess we should preface something real quick. Hamon is a breathing technique that basically allows you to do absolutely anything because it's so undefined.
I mean, let's be real. Even though we forgot to do it, if you're not watching JoJo, you've already. Let's be real.
Yeah, like if you don't have a basic understanding of the stuff in JoJo, you've already stopped listening.
And if you haven't,
I feel like there's so much like Hamon being so flexible in what it can do. There's a lot of stuff that it was able to do that was just completely forgotten about. Like how literally the first time we ever hear of Hamon, it completely heals Jonathan, and then later on, I feel like that was just kind of left in the dust. I feel like that's a big thing about Hamon that just like was never used again.
The punch extenders or whatever, the yard punch.
I'm okay with that being gone because that was retarded. But I feel like there were so many instances in part 2 and 3 and maybe even 4. Well, no, I guess not 4 because of that guy or Josuke. But I feel like in part 2 and 3, there were so many instances where Hamon could have helped, like healing somebody. As it was introduced as being able to do, the very first thing we ever saw Hamon do was repair Jonathan's shattered fucking arms, and this never used again. And I'm kind of bitter about that.
Yeah,
Hamon is stupid.
It's the stands are so much better.
Also, the main villain in part 2, Cars, right? Like even among the Pillarmen, Cars is the main villain, right?
Cars. Step on me.
Archie goes out of this world with this guy, like literally. But like, the whole point of the part is him trying to become the ultimate life form, which amounts to him growing bird wings
through a stone that he puts in a mask,
like,
and then just makes it stab him.
Just makes it work. It just works.
It just works.
So,
speaking of something that just works, though, great segue. We get introduced to the Joestar secret technique in part 2. Crusader, what are your what reactions to the Joestar?
I feel like it was severely underused, but then again, like after a few times, like going back and looking through, it gets used a lot, and we just don't notice.
I
love it so much. I just love Joseph and his wacky shenanigans. I feel like he's like the most hilarious out of all of them.
He's just a bad lad,
He's
dude.
really comedic.
Part 2 was the only part that made me seriously fucking like bust out laughing at the fucking TV.
Yeah.
Every other part was just like, ugh, you know what I mean? With its comedy.
How many times did Joseph use his secret technique of running away?
Twice in part 2.
Twice,
he did it once in part 3.
He did it like real sneaky, like when he tried to crawl away without them noticing he was moving, right?
It doesn't count if he doesn't scream "run away."
Fair.
He only did. He did it like the first episode. Yeah, no, second episode and the second last.
Then,
Dayo, Smokey. Smokey's there both times too. Smokey has to be there for it to work, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, so he had a use. He had a use.
That was Smokey's reason for being in part 2, is being able to Joseph can run away.
Oh my god, we figured it out.
But yeah, the Pillarmen. Santana, Cars, Wamu, and AC/DC.
Music references. Like, this is kind of the first, well, I guess, part 1, Speedwagon and Zeppeli. But like,
Zeppeli's like not as on the nose as Robert E.O. Speedwagon.
Yeah, like of course JoJo kind of has this history with using music references as like characters or stands, especially like when you get to
part 4
parts after part 3. Like every stand is just a music reference.
Legitimately all of them. You think it's not? Look it up.
Yeah, part 3, which we'll get into really quickly here, does a different system, which we'll again get into. But I feel like their use of music references works really well. It's unfortunate for users who watch like dubbed or whatever because
they have such bad translations.
Oh, Deadly Queen.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, on that note, like, let's get into stands, lads. Part 3, Stardust Crusade.
Hey, we still missed some things. I
want
to ask you about the Pillarmen.
Ending thoughts on part 2.
Yeah, ending thoughts on part 2, and also, what is your opinion on the Pillarmen?
I fucking love the Pillarmen. Yeah, we've already been through this. I love the Pillarmen so much. They're my favorite villains ever. I love Cars so much.
Honestly, I would say they're my least favorite villain, JoJo.
I would disagree.
Here's what I'll say about it, though, okay? Like, I would say they're probably the worst like written in a way, because like if you look at like part 3 onwards, villains are fantastic, and part 1 I just group with part 3 personally, right? But in terms of like entertainment, they're just so fucking over the top and insane. Like by no means are they bad.
Part 2's like theme, I guess.
No, yeah, they definitely
hold the part. They're the perfect villains.
Oh yeah, by no means are they bad villains. It's just like in comparison to the other villains, which we'll get into soon.
Like
Crusader, final verdict, part 2.
8 out of 10. It's fucking great, but it just feels too short.
Yeah,
it should have been more.
Mondo, you mad lad?
Yeah, bruh. Part 2, I wasn't as engaged as most people are with it, because later on I'll talk about like exactly when I started getting hooked on JoJo and like a fan of it and stuff. But part 2, I'd give an 8. Like it's very good. I didn't like it as much as
all my ratings.
Do. What? I'm not copying your ratings, bro.
Yeah, you did. You did it for the first one. You did it for this one.
First one he did 4 out of 5.
No, first one he did 6 out of 10.
No, that was me. I said 5 out of 6.
Okay, well you copied that one.
What?
Okay, whatever. Shut up.
But yeah, 8 out of 10 for part 2.
Alright. I'd probably give part 2 probably 8 or 9. Like it's just a wild ride. Again, I just can't describe it. It's just a wild ride. you get on and then you get off. You're like, wow, what just happened? Which is unfortunate because part 3 doesn't really maintain that momentum, in my opinion.
Oh fuck!
So Stardust Crusaders.
I don't even want to hear it.
The most iconic part of JoJo.
What is a stand, Armando?
Okay. A stand is a manifestation of your fighting spirit that stands alongside you, hence the name. In part 3, they are named after tarot cards and Egyptian gods. And
not even
instead
half of them are not. Some of them are
not. Instead of a sort of completely undefined ability such as Hamon, where you could pretty much do anything you want, Stan's abilities are fairly grounded and unique to every human being that has one. So there's a lot more possibilities of creative uses, at least in later parts. Part 3 is a little lacking in that. But if I were to compare Stans to anything, it'd probably be Personas from the later Persona games.
Personas!
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's Persona 4 that is like took heavy inspiration from Stardust Crusaders.
Yeah.
Considering they have the exact same naming schemes and everything.
Yeah. I mean, be fair. Like, at least in Persona, in Persona 5, which is one I played, they classify personas based on tarot card, which is like your relationships with people, but they don't specifically name them after stuff like that.
But yeah, and
except for Dio.
It is the part that introduced the stands, which is the most iconic thing about JoJo, aside from
Punch Ghost.
Yeah, Punch Ghost. Aside from possibly Part 3's main character, Jotaro Kujo, with his stand Star Platinum.
That was a great segue. I'm brutal
Fucking love Jotaro.
I feel like you're gonna say this about every JoJo.
I will.
I'm pretty real, Chief.
Because they're all so likable. Jotaro is Jotaro's one of the best, but I feel like Jotaro is really great, but he's way too edgy in part 3. I feel like that wastes his character because in later parts, he's
Part 4 Jotaro is amazing.
Like if part 4 Jotaro was in part 3 instead,
it would make no sense.
No, just listen to me. Like if he had that personality, I feel like he would be a lot more enjoyable to watch. I still like watching part 3 with Jotaro because he's still like it makes sense.
He's just a badass.
He's 17, he's edgy, he's going through hormones. But like
he's 17 with the body of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair as well, Crusader, part 4 Jotaro is the only way he is because he's basically now the mentor.
Yeah.
Right, because through part 4, right? Or part 3, the reason why I think that it kind of slows down is because it's 48 episodes, whatever, right? Every 2 episodes is a stand fight, okay? Why is a stand there? Who cares, right? The issue is that it almost falls into a routine of we enter a new location has stand, we fight stand, punch ghost, we move on to new location. It's villain of the week.
Or a scene.
Yeah, like, it's just villain of the week, right? So, whereas part 1 and 2 had a continuing storyline, part 3 was just like, alright,
very episodic.
and the next stand user, and the next stand user, and the next one.
Season
Yeah,
2
part
did that
3
better though. Like
I think
Part 3 just kind of delves into this villain of the week bullshit that I really didn't like. It dragged on for a long time. The pacing was garbage.
It isn't until the last quarter of Star Wars Crusaders where I think it really kicks into gear.
around Darby.
Because, like when they... So essentially this whole time, they're trying to head to Egypt, right? Because
Dio's back.
Jotaro's mother develops a stand. They're like, oh, it's Dio. Because Dio has Jonathan's body.
Also, the stand, because she couldn't control it, was eating away at her life force. So if they didn't kill Dio, who was the cause of the stand's manifestation, then she would have died.
Yeah.
And Kakyoin wanted
I feel like that also...
the best...
That doesn't make any sense at all. Wouldn't she still have the stand after...
I feel like that kind of also explains why Star Platinum kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's...
Like, Star Platinum appeared because of Dio, right?
Yeah.
So did
Same thing
Crazy
with Holly's
Diamond.
stand.
Crazy Diamond as well.
Yeah.
Crazy
and her
Diamond.
Purple.
But they just stay.
But I guess Josuke, since he kept Crazy Diamond, I guess that means Holly also still has her own.
Yeah, which means she's dead.
Well, she probably... I think it's more like Dio's existence was putting a strain on her stand or whatever. Like, it made it amplified or something.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's why.
It's the same with Josuke, because you see in part 4, it was like the same thing happening to him.
Yeah.
And like,
I just love the visualization of like the stand around Holly, and then I think about Josuke just getting fucking jumped by Crazy Diamond as a baby.
Just out from under his pillow.
Yeah, he just jumps out and beats the fuck out of him. Anyway.
I want to see that.
Yeah, I do too, though.
But it's their journey to Egypt to go kill the vampire boy, who's back now. Except this time,
and he takes
shirtless.
This is Jonathan's body.
Shirtless.
And has muscles upon muscles.
Which also, it makes no sense that he got Jonathan's body, right? It makes absolutely no sense. Because, they clearly had read it in part 1. So, in part 1, right, Dio gets onto the ship to kill Jonathan using a coffin, right? He's getting transported to America, right? And so, after Dio kills Jonathan, he and Jonathan kind of sit. Jonathan's just holding him, right? And Jonathan's wife takes the coffin to escape. But in part 3, it's revealed there was a second coffin, right? And Dio's just chilling under there for like 100 years. It's like,
and then he swam to shore.
What?
He swam to shore, went to Egypt, and then just chilled there.
Well, no, because remember a boat picked him up. Remember in part 2, a boat picks him up. Yeah. Wait, it just makes no sense.
They would have died if nobody came to get them.
Yeah, it makes no sense, but whatever, right? The plot's got a plot, right?
Yeah.
So they basically travel to Egypt, right? And again, villain of the week, which I'm not a fan of, right? Like, I watch a bunch of live action shows, and they follow that formula, which it works better for those in a sense because they're able to do more in a 40-minute episode than 2 20-minute episodes where they kind of have to recap a little bit at the beginning of the next one.
Yeah.
But once they hit Cairo, right, which is where Dio is,
Cairo,
we get into some Cairo or whatever. We run some other stands that are actually pretty solid, right? We run into Darby the Gambler, we run into Vanilla Ice,
Anubis.
That's kind of it. Anubis is.
I like Anubis.
Anubis is pretty cool.
Of course, probably the most famous battle in JoJo.
The world!
I really liked the reveal of the world. That was probably the coolest stand reveal ever.
We'll leave it unspoilers for the pod. Yeah, we won't say it in the pod. Well, should we though? Because if you're listening to this,
spoilers. Yes, we're going to spoil that the world has the power to stop time.
Yeah. So
one of the most overpowered stand abilities, which is to stop the flow of time and move freely during it.
Yeah, for what, 5 seconds? Is it
up to 9? He got to 9.
Well, yeah.
At first, it was only 4 seconds.
In the start of the battle. But yeah,
when they first encountered him, it was only 4 seconds.
You might be thinking, how do you beat the power to stop time?
With the biggest ass pull in history.
Now, with the dumbest thing in existence. Star Platinum is the same stand as the world, so it can stop time too. Whoa!
Now I know what you're thinking, hearing that, and trust me, it's a lot cooler when you're watching it than when you're hearing about it.
It makes sense that Star Platinum is the same stand as the world, considering who the stand users are.
Yeah.
Jotaro and Dio, they can't be more similar just because of the bloodline. Dio literally has his great-grandfather's fucking body.
Yeah. But, yeah. Here's another thing I thought that part 3 did a really good callback. In part 1, right? Jonathan says a line or something that's like, "If you kill me, Dio, my ghost will haunt you," right? And
That's why
Star Platinum has a very resembling look to Jonathan and whatnot, with the shoulder pad and hair. Anyway, I thought it was a really good callback. And plus, he does the sunlight yellow overdrive through his
also
his
aura.
stand.
Aura is what Jonathan says in part 1 when he
And
does rushes, and that's Star
Yeah.
Platinum's whole thing is when he punches, he shouts aura.
Yeah.
O-R-A,
Anyway,
not aura, as in Aura Sphere from Pokemon.
But yeah, that whole final battle, right?
Dio's world.
Oh, it is so stupid. It's so stupid.
It's so
It's
over
amazing.
the top. It's amazing. Roadrunner.
Yeah, okay, you haven't lived until you've watched someone use a steamroller to kill it.
Not even. Just put it on top of him and then punch it.
Yeah.
He used the steamroller as a nail.
Yeah. And he was the hammer. Oh my
But,
god.
Here's also what I was talking about how part 2 didn't engage me. It was part 3's fight against Darby the Gambler that made me more engaged into JoJo, because
Oh yeah.
it was
That
was stressful.
yeah, it was so tense.
even though you knew, right, that they're making it out of it alive, right? There's no way they die here, right? Even though you knew that, it was still just
It's massively done.
the whole second episode revolves around they're doing a gamble, right? And
It's the
Darby's
entire
had the
thing.
whole game rigged, right? So that Jotaro loses, right? And he gets his soul taken. But Jotaro, gets his card. He's just like, all right, I think I've won. And the whole episode is Darby just questioning himself, like, wait, did he actually win? Does he have the cards?
It's all, well, that
So-
psyched him out, right? But what actually broke him was how, in order for him to actually continue, because Jotaro put up a bet of his mom's life, right?
Yeah.
His mom's soul. And the only thing that could be worth that wager was to reveal the ability of Dio's the world.
Yeah.
Which Darby, with the fact that Jotaro seems so confident that he could beat him, and if he actually lost, Dio would kill him, it drove him over the edge, and he lost. He gave up in his heart.
Yeah. Oh, such a good episode.
Yeah, that was probably
It is really
Jotaro's
good.
most, second most badass moment in part 3.
Yeah.
Behind,
Probably.
I can't beat the shit out of you without getting closer.
Oh, classic line, dude. Basically, though, that's another thing I love about JoJo. It's literally, every line can be memed.
Mhm.
I'm not joking. Probably, every line can be
You
memed.
can say that about most media, though.
Yeah.
In
that's
this
true.
day and age, with the meme economy, you can meme anything.
One day there's going to be a museum, and they're going to be here's art from the 2000s, and then here's art from the 2010s. Memes. Here's Pepe. Oh, and there'll be JoJo's. There'll be a whole section in the museum of JoJo's. Telling you right now.
Now, also,
I think we got way off topic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were saying about Vanilla Ice, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice onward is the only moment in part 5 where it seemed
Part
like
three.
they were in
Part 5, wow.
Part 3, sorry. Part 3, where it seemed like they were in danger. Because
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice actually made people suffer.
Die.
Yeah, people died.
He fucking literally the first episode of that fight, he just kills a dude right there.
He could have just
Kills one of
murdered
the Stardust
Axel.
Crusaders.
And then he kills fucking Iggy. He fucking killed Iggy, man.
Killed it.
That
Keep in
was
mind, hey, keep in mind, if the Speedwagon Foundation hadn't brought Iggy
He would have lived.
in the Stardust Crusaders, they would never kill Dio.
That's true. Because Polnareff would have
Because
needed, and he would
Because
have
Iggy
easily
found
saved
Dio's
it.
palace, remember? Iggy found it.
Well, not only that, but he
He
saved
found his
Polnareff, who
saved
Jotaro,
Jotaro.
who killed Dio.
And
Finally.
then Dio died.
And then the
I
rest
love
is just
Iggy
his
so much.
consequences. But yeah,
Yeah.
part 3, second season, specifically, I'd say is one of the top, higher tier seasons of JoJo.
We're going to group it all as one, though. All is just part
The second
And
half
our
of part 3
final
is
verdicts.
so much better than the first half. But I feel just overall, I feel the pacing sucked ass, and I felt like
Yeah.
it took forever to finally get to Dio, and then when we did, it was over.
Yeah,
Dio died.
and here's another thing, right? Which is why Dio's on the lower half of my villains list is what does Dio do to the main characters, right?
He does nothing.
What does he do to
looks
them?
cool.
Yeah, like he doesn't even interact with them.
Different.
He threatens.
Yeah, I mean like part
his
3.
subordinates more than he threatens the Crusaders.
Yeah, like put it this way, right? He
killed
isn't
Capulet.
until the last 4 episodes where he actually affects the Crusaders, right? Whereas in part 4, 5, and 6 villains, they are constantly getting in the way of our heroes, right? Like they are constantly in combat with them, right?
Yeah.
Like part 4 is literally just a murder mystery, right? And halfway through, they find the murderer, right? And then it's like
then it's like a dramatic irony.
Yeah. Part 5, right? Like the main villain of that one, literally every time he shows up, someone dies, right? Like, oh,
I don't know. I feel like the whole if we don't kill Dio, Holly's gonna die. That was pretty good motivation, at least.
It's good motivation, but
it was the fact that Dio
the villain,
really
Dio doesn't do anything, right? He kind of just sits there to the last fight where he's like, all right, I guess it's time for me to do something.
But,
I really enjoyed part 3 Dio, but I feel like
I think he's like super well written.
I feel like Dio and like just his presence in the fucking part, like Dio's world in the last episode, those were made worse simply because of the pacing of the previous episodes. And the road to Dio, like in part 1, was garbage. But the actual Dio bit was great. Like, of course,
also, I will say,
Kaku, Dio, and JoJo was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I will say as well, the scenes where like we kind of get like those monologues from Dio, those scenes are phenomenal.
Like with Whole Horse being like, he's just one guy, and I have a gun.
Not even that, just the ones where he's alone. Like, those scenes are what carried me through part 3. I'm gonna be real, Chief. Those are what carried me through.
Yeah, literally every like little flash with Dio, shirtless too. Big bonus. I really like the Whole Horse and Dio interaction. I feel like it was a really cool way to sort of spook people about Dio's stand power, and also it really just didn't feel like Whole Horse in that scene because he's a little bitch, right? Like Whole Horse is a little fucking coward, but then he has the fucking guts to pull a gun on Dio of all people, and Dio's just like, "Yeah, you're pretty fucking cool, dude. Go kill Totoro."
Just like point the gun like 180 degrees.
But Stardust Crusaders, guys.
Yeah, final verdicts, Crusader.
Final verdict for Star. I don't know, man. It's tough because, like, on one hand, like, it's all together, like first,
all together.
Okay, with the first half, I had to say probably 6 or 7, just because. Okay. Fuck that.
All together, dude.
All together, 6 or 7 out of 10. Just because that first part.
Yeah. Armando, what about you?
Down a lot.
I'd say it's an 8. Like, the first season's good.
So you on par with part 2.
Yeah, like in its entirety. Because for a while, until like part 5's anime, I considered the Stardust Crusaders second season to be the best thing in JoJo.
Yeah,
but I also considered first season.
It's
to be
wrong,
one of
but
the
I'm what?
Like I considered first season to be the second worst.
Dang.
So yeah, it evens out at 8. I really like it. But definitely one of the lower tier parts. But it's not bad. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. I probably gotta agree with Crusader here. I think like a 7. 7's pretty good for where it is. Like, the first half I would give a 5. Like, I'd give a 5. The second half I'd probably give like a 9.
Mm-hmm. Second half is amazing.
Like, yeah, it's just the slog of getting through just stand user after stand user.
It got old after a while. Like halfway through, it got old.
Yeah, and especially on because I've been rewatching it, right? I've been rewatching it with my brother actually, and like part 3 on because the first time you're like, oh, like you're new to stands, right? You're like, oh, what does this stand do, right? Oh, that's also one of the reasons why I was able to keep going. But on rewatch, it's like, all right, here's the one where it shoots fire. Here's the one where it uses water. Boy, this is the one where it uses wind.
Stand abilities.
So you say 7 out of 10, Kyle?
Yeah.
All right. Well, as part 3 concludes with the death of Dio, we move on to a storyline entirely focused on the consequences of Dio.
And
what isn't 7, but 4.
I feel like the whole like Dio trilogy was really cool, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That like anything with Dio just feels like JoJo, and then afterwards it just kind of felt like disconnected from what it was.
Part four.
Still fine.
I mean, part 4 is the only one that doesn't really have the presence of Dio.
It has its consequence after.
It has
I guess all of them have the presence of Dio.
Except part 8 to this point.
Yeah. Anyway, part 4. Basically, Jotaro goes to a small town. Borio. It's in Japan. It's made up. I'm pretty sure.
It is.
He goes there, right? He's like, haha, lol, Josuke, you're a Joestar. Haha, lol, Joseph. Random person.
You're an illegitimate child.
Yeah, Joseph cheated on his wife, and
and he's like, haha, lol, your hair's dumb. And then
Jonathan's rolling over in his grave.
Shit of him.
Yeah, Jonathan's like, you're an embarrassment to the Joestar bloodline, Joseph. And he...
Yeah. Anyway, basically this whole one revolves around Josuke, who's a high schooler, and his friends Koichi and Okuyasu, as they try to unravel the mystery about a murderer who loves hands.
Yeah, severed hands.
Yeah. You can't make this up.
I mean, the Mona Lisa gave him a boner.
Yoshikage Kira.
One of the best JoJo.
Do we want to start with the villain?
Well,
I feel like
I want to say something first. Part
Josuke.
4, while the plot of the serial killer is very good and everything, like it's a very intriguing plot, I will say that the first 15 episodes, 15, 16 or whatever, they don't revolve around it at all. Like it's more of a episodic slice of life sort of thing.
Yeah, they're very much villain of the week as well, with the exception of a
couple people.
The only time, basically, whenever Jotaro's involved, it feels elevated because Jotaro's character in part 4, he's basically taking on the mentor role, right? He's not the gung ho batshit crazy person he was in part 3. He's now much more
he matured.
Yeah, exactly, right. And him in part 4, he every scene he's in, he carries it. Oh, dude, so good.
The Star Platinum, the world.
Dude, yeah, I mean, we'll get to it when we talk about the villain, but this season has probably one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah. So the whole slice of life thing is we're just introducing the fact that this town, there's something wrong with it, even though you don't quite know what it is.
Yeah.
There's
always something in the background.
Yeah, which
it really brings the town to life.
The color scheme of part 4 is genius. Because not only is it colorful and pleasant to look at, but it also changes up because the sky's orange. The sky is orange. And that's not in the manga as well. Yeah, but it's the color of the sky is different, which it makes it's sort of subliminal messaging. It puts in your conscious that there's something off about it before you even know anything about it.
Yeah, 100%. Also, I think this is the first part where we didn't revolve around the main JoJo.
Yeah.
Right? Koichi Hirose is the main character.
Yeah, Josuke.
I'd say 100%. Yeah.
Which sucks, because I like Josuke a lot. He's one of my favorite JoJo's.
Oh, yeah, dude. I think he's probably my favorite, actually, not. Besides Jonathan. Rip Jonathan. Crusader, what do you think of Josuke?
I fucking love Josuke. I really do, though. I feel like...
You said that about the other one!
Josuke is such... he's so different, He's just a guy being a dude this whole time. He's never really involved in anything that's going on. Except for Red Hot Chili Pepper and
Kira.
Killer Queen. Other than that, he's just chilling, He's living his life. And he's just so fucking cool. I love him so much.
Yeah, but speaking of the main cast...
One of the coolest stands.
Oh, yeah, the ability to revert things back.
It's basically a no-you card.
Yeah.
It's
used really crazy.
Yeah, it's the first healing ability in JoJo. That actually makes sense.
Come
on.
I got you, Crusader. But yeah, the way it's used, in some of the fights, is really well done.
Highway
Go-Go?
Don't call it
Highway Go-Go.
I swear to God, Kyle.
I had to, dude. I had to. For those who don't know, that's the English dub translation.
Yeah, for Highway Star, which is way better.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, basically that whole stand fight is Josuke on a motorcycle, right? It's basically just a car,
it's a
high-speed chase, right?
It's a glorified car chase.
And about halfway through the episode, right, Josuke comes across a kid crossing the street, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna hit this kid," and then he hits the kid. The show's over. No, he uses his ability to revert the motorcycle into individual parts, but then revert it back into the motorcycle.
So he essentially launches over them, so he doesn't hit them, and then as he clears them, he reverts it to normal and keeps going.
It is so genius.
like part 4 is where stands got creative.
Oh, 100%.
Like there are some cool ideas in part 3.
Yeah, because he
like
used up all the
Silver
basic
Chariot
stand
and
abilities.
stuff.
Like this one
Get the
shoots
adjective.
water. This one shoots fire.
Yeah, like for example, Koichi stand echoes, right? It's like first act, from what I remember, it's been a while. He just puts a sound effect on something, and if you hit it, you feel the effect, right? So like wind,
No, that's
you
Act
feel
2.
the effect of wind. Oh, what is Act 1?
He puts like a sound effect on like a person, and they hear it, and it
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
stop.
It drives him insane. Yeah, it's really cool, really underused. I feel.
Oh, yeah.
Everything but Act 3 is underused for echoes.
Even Act 3 is underused. He's only used twice.
SHIT.
He's only used twice.
But yeah, as
3
Panther was
times we
saying,
took part 5.
Also, we get introduced to the most broken, one of the most broken stands, Heaven's Door. Rohan Kishi.
Heaven's Door.
So Rohan Kishi is like he's Araki's self-insert kid, right?
Yeah.
He's a manga artist, right? And like, so his stand ability is if you, so he hits someone, right? He can hit someone with his ability, and he gets to read everything, and he can be like, huh,
I feel like it doesn't really
that's
make
cool.
sense how Heaven's Door is activated, because at first it was like, oh, you have to read his transcript, but then after that it was
he
just
just
like
touches them.
he just touches them. I feel like
Yeah.
that makes more sense than the transcript. I feel like the only reason that it was the transcript in the first place was to stop Rohan from completely wiping out the fucking Morio crew.
Yeah.
'Cause
But
he
like
would've.
essentially though, what he can do is not just can he read everything, but he can put stuff in there. Like for example, Crusader. Let's say I used Heaven's Door, right? You don't know Chinese, okay? You don't know how to speak Chinese, right? I can write in there, Crusader knows how to speak Chinese. And boom, he just knows. He just knows.
He just does.
Theoretically, you could write in someone, you just die. Idiot. And they just die.
Does he do that?
No.
Or no, he doesn't. Never mind, I was thinking of something else.
Yeah, like, it is so dumb, and, like, theoretically, he should win every fight he's in by just saying, like, you are now like, if he's ever being chased, it's just like, oh, turn around, hit someone.
I don't know, man. I really fucking like Crazy Diamond.
I love, like, all the
I
stands.
love the fucking the music that plays whenever Crazy Diamond's on screen, pretty much.
All the
Like, I feel like Crazy Diamond and its sound profile are just so fucking perfect. And just like it's just so entertaining to watch Crazy Diamond. Plus, like every stand in part 4 and their sound design is just so beautiful. Like in part 3, it was just like loud noises, because
part 4 that they introduced definitely different ideas and whatnot, which I think, of course, they kind of had to do, otherwise they're
also now they've
already
part
done
4.
the basic stands.
I get to rant about fucking part 4 Joseph.
Alright, here we go. Everyone buckle up. Buckle up.
No, like I said earlier, there's no reason for Joseph to be in part 4 at all. Because the whole point of him ever coming to Morio was to use Hermit Purple to find the stand user, Red Hot Chili Pepper. And then by the time he gets there, they've defeated Red Hot Chili Pepper. The user reveals himself while Joseph's coming over to reveal him.
And he tries to kill Joseph as well.
Yeah, and then Josuke defeats him, and so then Joseph's just chilling the whole time. Like, he's just there. And at first, he's like completely senile. He can't do anything. But that's only for that one episode. And then for the rest of this part, he's just kind of there. He doesn't do anything. But he's not senile. He's not retarded anymore. He's like, he's competent.
He probably could.
But in the first introduction, he wasn't. And I just don't want him to be there. Get out.
Now that I think about it, that Red Hot Chili Pepper kind of works better now I think about it. Think about it, right? Why would Red Hot Chili Pepper reveal himself? Because he's protecting Kira, right? Because he knows that Joseph could just simply find Yoshikage Kira, just snap his fingers. Oh, there he is. Which he doesn't fucking at all. Like, I'm not joking when I say this. The part could be over on episode 20, they're introduced to Kira, right? And like, oh no, how do we find this guy? Episode 21? That's the end of the show. They could have just found him, just everyone gangs up on him. Like, everyone. So, based on that, Yoshikage Kira.
Exploding boy.
Yeah,
so
touches
cool.
the thing, it explodes. Boom.
He's a really cool villain. Yeah. I think Killer Queen is like one of the coolest stands, but I also feel like Killer Queen doesn't get a lot of screen time, and that kind of sucks.
Because even like the second fight he's in is Sheer Heart Attack, not Killer Queen. Speaking of which, Sheer Heart Attack, one of the greatest episodes in JoJo history.
Indeed.
It's actually amazing. Jotaro, like, it's literally just Jotaro and Koichi The
Getting
tag
Jotaro
team
tweaky
duo.
things.
Getting
Just
destroyed.
Yeah, but also we get like a bunch of throwbacks to Star Wars Crusaders. Like Jotaro just gets to go ham.
Yep,
and it's great.
Any episode where Jotaro gets to do stuff is a good episode.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Jotaro doing stuff, we're talking part 4. We gotta talk. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. The rat.
Oh. The rat that figured out
The rat's
Jotaro's...
fucking weird.
So let me paint the picture, okay? So part 3, 2 of the Crusaders die trying to tell Jotaro what Dio's ability is and figuring it out, okay? Part 4, a rat figures out that Jotaro can stop time and works around in about 5 seconds.
Well, I don't think it's that the rat figured out that Jotaro can stop time, and more or less just he saw that Jotaro was blinking all over the place, and
no, it would 100% figured out that he was stopping time, like that he was telling.
Also, like, it wasn't a secret. Jotaro was literally walking through the street saying, "Hey, idiot! I can stop time. Don't fight me because I can stop time. Hey, you there? I know it's none of your business, but I can stop time for 2 seconds.
No,
Just
but the
making
rat,
sure you know."
The rat 100% didn't know because like the first 2 times he uses it, Jotaro gets the jump, right? Like he 100% works. The next one though, the rat's just like, oh, let me just do this real quick, and then it hits Jotaro, even though he stopped time.
A rat figured out stop time in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Not even.
Yeah,
like a minute.
The rat, the world.
Kakyoin had to die. In order to
Yeah,
do
so
the
did
same.
Joseph. Like, well, technically die. But
Kakyoin
like, it's so
actually died.
dumb. Yeah.
I do think it's really cool that Jotaro can stop time though now, because I feel like it's underused again. Like I feel like
It is.
Jotaro
I mean, he uses it a
doesn't
fair
really
amount.
get to shine as much as he should be able to. Like I feel like they just nerfed him.
Yeah,
into the
like,
ground, which makes
back then,
sense because again, like
if you can just
if
stop time for
Jotaro-
5 seconds, all of those fights kind of become unnecessary. Like sheer heart attack, I don't think changes just because Jotaro, everything he tries just doesn't work. Even though
I feel like that's dumb though. I feel like sheer heart attack is weird. It doesn't make no sense. Like
Doesn't
don't get me
have a
wrong,
weakness.
it's cool, but
It's
here's what
indestructible.
doesn't make sense to me. Echo's Act 3
Mhm.
affected Kira. Like when he was using the 3 freeze on sheer heart attack, it affected Kira. But when Star Platinum was beating the ever-loving fuck out of sheer heart attack, Kira just did not notice at all.
I think the logic of it is right. It's like
Its
its durability is so much that, like-
sheer heart attack.
like its durability, right, is just so insane that like it's like if a fly ran into your hand, you notice, right? But the effect of gravity, right, still affects anything, no matter how durable it is, right?
Mhm.
I think that's what they were getting at there. Like, I think that makes sense, right?
I guess. I did also like the Jotaro beating down Akira.
Oh, twice as
times.
well. Twice.
Both times was
Yosuke
great.
doesn't even get to do it, man. It's
I
just
feel like it's better that Josuke wasn't the one to kill Kira, or at least to defeat him.
100%.
Because I mean, Josuke
didn't-
did get a big fight with Kira.
Yeah, he also
And
didn't
it was-
deserve the beat, right? Like,
It was pretty
he had
much
that
proven
one
that so
fight.
long as Kira
The
kept his
ambulance
distance,
deserved it.
Josuke could not beat him.
The ambulance deserved it.
Like-
yeah.
Josuke deserved it.
Oh, dude.
But-
Every ambulance you see from now on is now a joke. It's great.
It's a JoJo, dude. Everything is a JoJo reference because of Part 5.
Yep. Because just
Anyways.
just Duval died there. Anyway,
Yeah, Yoshikage Kira.
great villain, dude. I think he's super well written. He's creepy as well at times.
He's really
Sure.
fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He makes me really uncomfortable. And that's why I like him so much, is that he just really, like, it sends shivers down my spine whenever he's talking about some dumb shit, like the Mona
Yeah.
Lisa. Or just that's like the music playing that is associated with Kira.
Dude, his sound,
It's just,
his theme, dude.
it's just,
Oh.
it really gets to you, I think. And he's just a really well written villain.
And, yeah.
I think my
He's,
only
he's
issue,
probably he's one of the best. Not the
Yeah.
best, but he's one of the best.
I think my only real issue with him is kind of like the whole stuff with Hayato and whatnot. Because like
yeah, that was
halfway,
that
like
was
after he gets
done too
discovered
much.
by the Morio crew, he
Hayato had no
assumes
point.
a new identity, or he just gets a new identity, right? Like,
Mhm.
and he's now living with this other family, right? It's like, how the fuck do you not know this is not your husband, right? Like, it's like, it's
Plot.
kind of, yeah, like that whole stuff is kind of.
I think she knew that something was wrong, but she didn't want to admit it
She
because
liked
it.
she was
She
finally
liked
getting like the husband that she always wanted.
Uh-huh.
So
True.
she didn't care if he was different because she was finally happy.
True, it's still kind of whack though.
Oh well, yeah, it's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's supposed to be bizarre.
He said it.
Yeah, he also bites the dust is awesome.
Okay, that's so dumb.
The
fact that
the fuck out of me.
So basically, Hayato or whatever's figured out Kira, right? He's cracked the case, right? This 10-year-old kid has cracked it. Freaking Jotaro Kujo, Josuke, Koichi, Rohan, everyone, right?
Well, they were just as close to cracking it as when Hayato cracked it.
Yeah.
True.
Hayato figured out who Kira was, and then the next day, the Morio crew showed up to his house.
Yeah, true. But anyway, my point is, right, like, so Kira's like, oh wow, how do I get out of this? Oh, so hard. He gets stabbed with the stand arrow, right? Which is, just gives people a stand. But apparently if you already have a stand, it gives you another stand.
Well, a new ability.
New ability.
Whatever, new ability, right? So it's like...
Sometimes it makes your stand Requiem. Nobody really knows what stand arrows do.
Yeah, like, is it, like...
They're just weird.
Yeah, like, that felt, like... Mm-hmm. Which we'll get into part 5, where they introduce, like, a Requiem. Like, at least that one they set up. This one was just... This was an asshole, right? Like, it's just like...
It entirely was an asshole, but it also... It succeeded in making Kira so much more terrifying of a villain, because it really did seem like an invincible ability.
No, yeah, it did, but Absolutely. It was just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I guess all the bad guys' abilities seem like an invincible ability until they're not. Like, you could say the same thing about Dio's Time Stop, and...
Yeah, but then Jotaro... Keep in mind, though, Jotaro would never have beaten him without Time Stop.
Poochie doesn't really have that.
Who does?
Poochie. He doesn't have that.
Not until he gets made in heaven.
Well, even then.
No, dude.
He still breaks it with that.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway. Yeah, like, it's just out of nowhere. There's no setup to it, which is kind of one thing I've noticed about part 3 and part is they just have some things just come out there. Like, Jotaro just saying, like, oh, I'll just stop time. And then Kira just be like, oh, I'll just gain the ability to revert a day if anyone finds out my ability.
Isn't it only an hour, though?
Oh, whatever. I thought it was just the beginning of the day.
So wait, hang on. So if he can only go back an hour...
I thought it was just the day. He starts at the beginning of the day again.
No, it was... They said it was only an hour.
Yeah, it was about an hour.
Was it? Because Hayato makes it to different times and still gets reverted back to when he wakes up.
He gets to about, like, it's only a few minutes in the difference, and he's still waking up in bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just listen now. So, if there's like if he only goes back an hour, if he had to have been able to successfully activate Bites the Dust before he was killed by Jotaro,
yeah,
wouldn't he have just gone back to the fight with Josuke? Or at least somewhere close? Like, Fate...
True, but he knows how that then plays out. He knows exactly what Josuke's going to do before he does it.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright, then... Okay, never mind. Alright.
But yeah, despite its flaws, I really like Bites the Dust. I thought it was a very entertaining fight.
Yeah, I do. I think my only issue with it is just how he got it. Because it's just out of nowhere. But, on that note, anything else we want to talk about part
4? One little quick thing. We don't really have to discuss it. John Ken Boy, I want to kill him.
Who's that again?
He's the dude that tried to suck Rohan's stand out of him. For rock, paper,
scissors.
Oh,
that dude! Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
Oh,
John Ken!
Hoy.
Anyway. No, we're not talking about that.
No.
Yeah. Crusader, Final Verge, part 4.
Part 4 is probably a 9 or a 10. I think... I don't know. I want to say it's a 10, but I feel like... I'd say it's a strong 9. It's so good. The first half of part 4 really did such an amazing job of bringing the town to life and everybody in it. And it's just really... I was so, hooked the whole time. It was so interesting. And... I don't know. I didn't feel like there was any really low points, except for maybe the Red Hot Shell. Just because it just kind of sucked.
Fair enough.
I
think we're all unanimous on that, though. All 9s around the board.
Yep. Same reasons, pretty much.
Yeah.
All right.
But now we're on to the best part. Part 5, Golden Wind. I love Golden. I'll say this right now. It is the best part of JoJo. You can't tell me otherwise. It is the best part of JoJo.
It's up there, yeah.
It took the villain of the week stuff from part 3 and actually made it good.
Oh, dude. So
yeah, because we knew who the villains were this time.
Yeah,
even then, right? There was still a story going on in the background. Whereas part 3 was just like, all right, we're going to this place. Oh, there's a stand user here. How convenient, right? Mm-hmm. This one, it's actually like a force against the main character. So essentially, Giorno, right, is the son of Dio, right? So he's still a Joestar because Dio had Jonathan's body at the time, right? And so he's in Italy, and he wants to be a gang star, right? And he wants to basically take over Passion, which is the mafia gang in Italy, and basically take it over so that he can kind of stop
the drug trade.
So you can stop drugs.
Yeah, stop drugs.
Drugs are very bad, children. Never do them.
Like, he squads up with the only JoJo crew where I can't, like, every part there's at least one character where I'm like, I don't really like that character, right? Part 5, I like every character in the main group. You got
Fugo.
I still love Fugo, dude. Right? Like,
awesome.
Giorno.
I miss Fugo.
You got Giorno Pucciolotti, Fugo, Abacchio, Narancia, Mista, Trish. Like, all of them are so good. All their stands are so unique too. Quick thing: Trish's stand is completely underused and should have another fight.
He's only used once.
Yeah, exactly.
Only used once.
Twice.
I know, it's criminal.
Twice not. I don't count that. It's not. That's bullshit.
Yeah, no. Anyway, like, where do we want to start with part 5?
Well,
I don't know.
I guess I don't really want to go too into depth about how the people they fight are so developed, because that would take forever.
No, like, all this fights
really
work so.
Because it works so well. It took the formula from part 3 and made it actually enjoyable to watch.
You
so many,
because we knew who they all were, we knew what their motives were, except for in the second half with like the elite gang. That was a bit different.
Well, they were just bodyguards,
but with
like hitmen.
The bodyguards, that's a bit different. That felt more like part 3. But the first half with like the others, the hitman squadron, that was so cool, and they were all unique, and they were all fleshed out, likable characters. And they were entertaining to watch, and that just really made it so much easier to get through the first half. Like, if part 3 was like that, holy fuck.
Like, here's another thing, though. I can't think of a fight in part 5 that one's not good, right? The only one that I can think of is Clash and Talking Head. Even then, that fight is still phenomenal.
Little Feet.
Yeah.
Little Bomber?
Even then, that was still really good. But, like, I went into part 5 looking at all the characters. I'm like, Narancia, too much, right? Like after the first episode. But then he gets his fights, right? He gets, like...
And he gets the one with the piano.
Dude.
They fleshed out the main cast more than they have ever.
It's so brilliant, dude.
It made deaths way more impactful. Like...
I think I literally... Like, when I was watching part 5, I was like, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was just laid down on my couch, like falling asleep. And I was kind of zoned out, but this was during the King Crimson reveal.
And then Bucciolotti.
And I was like falling asleep, and then I look at the screen, and there's fucking Bucciolotti getting fisted by King Crimson.
Yeah,
and
dude.
I fell off the fucking couch. I was like, what the fuck?
Like, all the deaths are just so well done, right?
Abacchio almost made me cry.
Yeah, I cried for George. Rip my boy. he didn't need to go. He could have lived.
I'm sad that Doppio had to die.
Yeah,
he was such a good boy.
Spoilers, by the way.
Yeah, verified. Whatever. Verified good boy.
Spoilers. I don't give a fuck.
No, I know, not even.
But like,
we've already made like 2 spoiler warnings, like way back.
I think Doppio. I think his character was a bit underused, but I think the same can be said for Diavolo. Doppio and Diavolo were both severely underused. I feel like they kind of took away.
They were great, though.
I think they worked well.
They were still great, but I feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like Diavolo just didn't get a lot of screen time to really make him a scary villain.
I think Crimson was the real main villain. My God.
Yeah. King Crimson was fucking terrifying when it was first introduced, and then it was just he just kind of vanished. Like, if I don't know. I feel like if they ran into King Crimson at least one more time before the final fight, I would have been a bit more scared of him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I don't know.
They did, like, you gotta think about when they ran into him, right? They ran into him at episode 20, right? Where they first reveal.
Which he kills Bucciolotti.
Yeah, we see him again after Clash and...
Yeah.
No, after Clash and Talking or whatever. We see a scene of him there where he's like, he's pissed, right? He's like ready to hunt everyone down. The next time we see him is King Crimson versus Metallica. Yeah, and he kills Abacchio, right? The next time we see him, though, is like Silver Chariot Requiem.
Which he kills Polnareff's body.
In the final fight, which is like the last 8 episodes.
He killed Polnareff.
He kills Polnareff's body, and then he kills Narancia.
Yeah.
That made me so fucking mad. He killed Polnareff.
Well, he didn't, because Polnareff's eternal now.
Yeah, but that's stupid.
Out of context,
That was just so retarded. I feel like they should have just let Polnareff die.
I think they should have too.
Well,
I think that would have had a more emotional impact.
Polnareff can be a thing now, so it's okay.
I feel like maybe if it would have had more emotional, like Polnareff dying would have hit more if it actually got like attention. Because I feel like Polnareff was doing everything in his power to be so careful and make sure the Diablo will never catch him. And then, he sees that Doppio and Pucciarati pull up to the fucking Coliseum.
It's like,
and
who the fuck is this?
Just like, I'm just a fucking girl, dude. Leave me alone.
He tries to be Trish.
Yeah.
And he's he tries to be Trish, and Polnareff just buys it. Like, what do you mean? Like, there's no way that him being that stupid let him survive for so long against the fucking Passion Gang. Like, just nah.
Why didn't you just call Jotaro? Why didn't you just call Jotaro to curb stomp Diablo and time stop?
I feel like that would have just been so much better if Polnareff called Jotaro, but Jotaro was just like, what? Or something, or not like that. But I feel like, no. I feel like if Jotaro showed up, that would have been pretty cool. But I don't want him to actually have done anything. Mm-hmm. I feel like it'd be interesting to see how King Crimson and Star Platinum interact with the time stop and the time skipping shit. But other than that, I think Jotaro should not have been there at all. I'm glad he wasn't.
That whole fight and stuff with like Requiem, and the body swap stuff was great.
Silver Chariot Requiem was really cool.
Yeah. And then it gets into like the final showdown with Diavolo, and like he's
so good.
He's like basically trapped everyone in a corner, but then Bucciarati, who's a zombie, sacrifices himself in order to give Giorno the Requiem arrow, which causes him to obtain the most broken ability in history
ever.
I feel like it's kind of broken that King Crimson himself couldn't be pierced by the arrow. Like, I mean, I guess it makes sense because like the arrow rejected you, dipshit.
Well, it's
but then
because
like
they didn't fully kill the Requiem.
I guess that too. But I feel like does it really mean that only one Requiem exists at a time?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I think so.
Well, because I guess, yeah.
But by the logic they presented, there's only one. There could be more, but we do none.
I mean, I guess
I would imagine there's only one though.
But yeah,
I did enjoy Silver Chariot Requiem. I do fucking love Gold Experience Requiem. I think he's the coolest fucking stand besides the world.
Yeah, the ability to reset everything to zero, negating everything that ever happens. We haven't talked
about it's not kidding.
I'm just bitter that Gold Experience Requiem wasn't a permanent stand because, god damn it, he could have stopped Part 6 from happening.
We don't know whether or not it was permanent.
I mean, I feel like it is because I feel like it's implied because he's holding the arrow that was in GER's head.
Yeah,
but granted, Silver Chariot Requiem,
died.
could be himself without the arrow, right?
Yeah, but it was shown that the arrow was inside Gold Experience.
Like he'd have to do it again, and I don't think Giorno had enough time to do so before Part 6 happened.
No, yeah. But my point is, I feel like it's permanent simply from the fact that Silver Chariot Requiem stays Requiem even when the arrow is removed from it. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, even when it's taken away, that's, again, the whole point of it stands when it's taken away.
Yeah, but my big argument on how it's not permanent stand is because if it was, he would have noticed the accelerating time in Part 6 and would have just been like, hey, stop that. And it would have stopped.
That whole final battle sound, he's just like, everyone's like everything's going to shit. Just like everything's
like imagine if Giorno did show up in Part 6 and Pucci was like, "Hey,
he was supposed to." According to Arki's original plan,
Giorno was supposed to be there instead of Jotaro.
Yeah, but if Giorno showed up, then the ending would have been so much different.
That's why he didn't do that.
Yeah, if Giorno showed up again, like I said, Pucci would have just died. Everybody would have went home. Everything would be happy, and we wouldn't have got the ending we did. So yeah. I'm kind of glad Giorno didn't show up, but also explains that Gold Experience Requiem is not a permanent stand.
I mean,
he went back to Golden Experience after King Crimson died, or after Diavolo died.
Which his death, my God,
he's not dead yet, Chief. He's not dead yet.
Infinite death loop.
Yeah, basically,
I feel like he is dead, but he's just kind of like in his consciousness is still alive. And he's just going through all those death loops.
That's gotta suck, right?
His body's dead.
It's like his consciousness is remaining, Like, his soul is alive, but it's experiencing, like, infinite torture.
Yeah, that has got to be... Wait, does that mean when the universe resets, though, that he gets removed from that?
Yeah, he finally gets mercy after the universe is gone.
After 10 years or whatever.
A long time, yeah.
Dude, that's got to say.
I don't say he deserves it, but he deserves it.
Oh, I think he does. He killed Narancha. He 100% does.
He killed Bucciarati.
Yeah.
But man, he killed my boy Narancha.
He's one of the most devastating antagonists. Probably only behind Pucci.
Simply because, well, he just resets
He
the
kills
fucking
everyone.
universe.
Legitimately everyone.
King Crimson was such a cool stand. It has such a cool ability.
It had one of
the sound design, too, for it. Oh.
It had the best reveal, in my opinion.
It was such a cool reveal, and it was such a cool ability, being able to see from Diablo's perspective of the time skipping.
Yeah.
I just wish, again, that we could have got more scenes of King Crimson doing King Crimson things. Because I feel like he didn't really get to do a lot of stuff before he was just fucking destroyed.
Yep.
And that kind of sucks, man.
So, here's what I find funny, right? So part 5 takes place over the course of a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you gotta imagine, though, as well, King Crimson's ability affects everyone, right? You gotta imagine, JoJo's just chilling somewhere like Morio, and then all of a sudden he skips forward 10 seconds. He's like, okay, that was weird. And then, like, 2 days later, he does, like, 8 times.
I feel like he just wouldn't even notice.
Really? You think he's...
Just think about it. In the beginning, the gang didn't even notice.
No, they do.
Giorno went onto the island. Like, at first, they were like,
that was the first time it was activated, though.
Why is this doing this? Why is this doing that?
Well, yeah, because they noticed it because Abakio was on the boat, and then all of a sudden he was not on the boat, right? So you gotta realize, like, Giorno must have, like, been chilling, like, maybe he's drinking coffee, and all of a sudden, boom, the thing's empty. He's like, what?
He wouldn't have paid it any mind. He'd be like, okay.
Yuri dizzy.
Let's use gold experience. Most broken stand.
So, final thoughts about Golden Wind, boys?
I mean, I got one more little thing.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Little thing to say. One of the most underrated fights that people are sleeping on, okay? Notorious Big, okay?
I don't think it's underrated. I think it's one of the best.
I think it's
sleeping on Notorious Big.
I haven't, like... Whenever I see, like, people talk about Part 5, I don't see anyone talk about this fight.
It's more
Everyone's like, oh, Grateful Dead, White Album.
It's not that it's underrated, it's that there's so many great fights in Golden Wind. It's hard to count them all.
Dude.
It's great.
All the fights are so good. Okay, anyway, final verdict, Crusader.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, boys.
Best part, I feel like Golden Wind is so good. It's a treasure. Yeah. Plus, I just love Giorno. He's a lucky boy.
Also, you know who's not a lucky boy?
Jolene.
Jotaro on Part 6.
Jotaro on Part 6 got fucked. They disrespected Jotaro so hard in Part 6.
Stone Ocean, lads. Who boy?
Fuck Stone Ocean.
Prison setting.
Yeah, Jolene Kujo in a prison.
Female, by the way. The first female JoJo.
You can tell the whole time Rocky was writing this, he had a fucking boner. Because literally at the beginning of the fucking... Jolene was like, man, I was fingering myself the other day. And,
yeah.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that one, Chief.
It's so uncomfortable. I feel like she's so over sexualized.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why? Like, you know, because I know, like, reading about, like, people talking about Part 6, Rocky is like, oh, people were like, it was a bad idea to have a female protagonist in a fucking
He experimented.
manga.
That was the point of Part 6, mostly.
And the whole time, she was just fucking being a fucking thought. Like, she was so over-sexualized. And it just really made me uncomfortable.
She's still great, though. She's a great character.
Oh, yeah.
Who was?
Yeah, Jolene.
Oh, Jolene, she's still a great JoJo. It's just, she's so over-sexualized.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that one, Chief. But, where do we want to start with Part 6?
Well, Crusader, what were your thoughts of going through Part 6?
It was, I don't know, I feel like the pacing was a little weird because, you know, at 1 minute they'd be like I feel like there was no real goal at first, you know? Like, at first it was just like, oh, I gotta get my dad's disc. And then they get the disc, and it's like, oh, now we gotta get this other disc. I feel like it was just like errands. You know, they were just doing stuff. There wasn't any real tension.
Yeah,
like, there wasn't any, like, grand...
After they got the Star Platinum disc, there wasn't really any tension until Made in Heaven.
Yeah, basically, like the whole plot revolves around
Dio again.
So apparently Dio found this way to reset the fucking universe. Okay, he basically wanted to achieve heaven by resetting the universe 30 times or whatever.
I think it was 15.
Right, 15 times or whatever. And so Jotaro found this information. Was like, oh, sick! I'm gonna burn all evidence of the information. And Poochie's like, haha, lol, I don't want to do that. So he takes Jotaro's memories through taking a stand disc, right, and taking Star Platinum. And basically, Jolene's in the same prison as him, convenient, and is trying to get those memories back to Jotaro.
Well, wasn't it like set up so that Jolene would be in the same prison as Poochie?
Yeah.
Still dumb.
The whole thing
I just
was
feel
an
like they
elaborate
fucking
trap.
disrespected Jotaro so hard.
Yeah. Hey, but he can stop time for 5 seconds now again?
Yeah, 5 seconds. Also, with like the tension stuff, the fact the fights in Part 6 are not good.
No.
No, they're not. I mean, I don't know. Stone Free fights with Stone Free were pretty cool because
Stone Free was really.
It wasn't all about
really
just like Part 3. It's. I really did feel like because it was Jotaro's daughter, it would be more like Part 3 in the sense that it was just going to be Stone Free beating everybody up, but it wasn't. There was a lot of fights where it just felt like Stone Free just was fucking cool as shit. Because that's still a really cool stand.
Oh yeah,
underused.
Totally underused. That's a huge problem. A lot of the fights are just Jolene just getting beat the fuck up, and she's not doing anything about it.
And they're just winning.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden she just like somebody else steps in, or she just wins. Like in most fights, I think Jolene gets mortally wounded and then just walks it off.
There's a lot of fights in Part 6 that that are either like super boring or never like realize their full potential. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which sucks because
Foo Fighters. I love Foo Fighters.
Oh, Foo Fighters!
Foo Fighters died too early.
Yeah.
Yep.
Poor girl or guy, whatever it is.
Whatever that was.
Who really knows?
Foo Fighters is such an interesting character and such an interesting idea. You know, it's like a stand that was like a living stand, and just like died too early, man.
The characters in Part 6 are great.
Oh yeah,
like it has no issues in character department. It's the fights that are so lacking.
Well, and you know currently Part 6 doesn't have an anime adaptation, but I feel like that's something they could fix in the anime, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like
they can make it more flashy and actually good to watch. I feel like that was like, at least for me, what made the fights in Part 6 so boring. Is that I was used to watching the anime. Yeah. So this transition to the manga, I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, I had the same issue.
I just didn't like them. I was bored through most of them.
Because it's not like there's anything special. It was the same villain of the week bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Just a little less creative.
Just a little less creative. I feel like the one that one stand that I clearly don't fucking care about because I can't remember, but the one that like makes you forget everything after you learn 3 things. That was one of the coolest stands ever.
Debt collector Marilyn Manson?
No? Yeah, Marilyn Manson.
Yeah. Okay.
That was a fucking terrifying stand. And the whole time I was reading that arc, I was like, man, this is actually fucked. How the fuck is she supposed to fucking beat this? And then she just kind of does. And I feel like it's kind of an asshole.
Mm-hmm. But there is one really good thing that came out of Part 6. Enrico Pucci.
Oh, what a character, dude. What a lad. What a lad. What a Chad.
Cool character.
One of the best JoJo villains.
We elevated him to Chad level.
One of the best, yeah. He's
the only one that technically wins. Like he's because he kills everyone, as we've
seen.
He completely won.
Well, he died.
He just got bamboozled.
He lost, but he won. It was a tie.
He defeated JoJo, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
He's the only villain to ever defeat JoJo.
His motivation was also like pretty good for what it was. He was always
he just wants to achieve heaven.
It was also a sort of dramatic irony thing. It was like Kira. Yeah. Because you know who he is, but they don't. So whenever they interact, you're just like, bro.
Yeah. That first time Jill acts with Pucci though was phenomenal.
When she's like begging him to move so she can get inside.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of scenes where Pucci was interacting with any of them. No. I feel like.
But when he does...
And then, until Foo Fighters figured out who Pucci was. I also feel like Whitesnake was kind of underused.
Yeah.
Because for the entire part, it was like, oh my god, Whitesnake is gonna kill us. Whitesnake is gonna like. I feel like at any point in time, Pucci could have just walked up to Jolene and just fucking swiped out Stone free, and that would have been it. Like, for example, the scene where she was trying to push past him to get out to the courtyard to give back the Star Platinum disc, literally could have just grabbed the disc right there, but I guess not.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Like that, I'll never understand that. Why didn't he just kill her right there? He could have so easily. She had no idea who he was.
Yeah.
His relationship with Weather Report as well, and like the entire backstory during Heavy Weather.
Heavy Weather was fucking weird.
Snails.
It was so weird.
But like the backstory portion was great.
That was good. I agree. So we gotta talk about one thing, which is sort of like a ability reveal. So Star Platinum doesn't actually stop time, right? It just makes him move stupidly fast.
So fast that time basically grinds to a halt.
Yeah.
Well, I felt they had to make it that way so that they can explain why Pucci is able to see him in time stop.
Yeah, which I'm okay with.
Yeah, no, I feel it's kind of takes away from the whole Star Platinum. It does, but then it's kind of funny how they're all talking about stopping time. It's just like you don't really. That's my thing. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to point that out.
But that last fight,
just really hate Part 6. I mean,
I like it.
I hate how they treated Jotaro's character in Part 6. Because he comes in and then he's just completely incompetent. Like he's nothing like Part 4 Jotaro. It's like every really part he gets worse and worse. Like
Part 4 he's gone.
Yeah, but I mean exactly. Like if he was like in Part 6, he was just so stupid. Like he just gets boinked by Whitesnake. Like you'd think after fighting against stands for so long who can do certain things with their hands, if their hands connect, you would think he wouldn't let Whitesnake touch him, right?
Yeah.
You think he would at least go out of his way to be like, hey, hang on, trying to like deflect the attacks like how Crazy Diamond and Killer Queen fight. But like he just kind of takes it.
Yeah.
I just really hate. I really hate how they
right.
Yeah, like Jotaro just completely is just so incompetent in this part, and they just ruined his character, and that just really turned me off. Because I'm a big Jotaro fan, obviously.
At least he got a spotlight during Made in Heaven.
Yeah, a little bit of a spotlight, but again, like he has this invincible ability to stop time, and then it's just completely useless. Mm-hmm. Like he's just for the end for Made in Heaven, he's just there to die. You know what I mean? Like he literally went to the visitor center just to die.
It was good for building up how strong Pucci got.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Definitely like built scale, like stand power, but like I don't know, man. I just feel like he was wasted in this part.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like they should have put Jordan instead of Jotaro.
Who?
Even though originally Jordan was supposed to be in there, Jotaro.
Yeah, but then he would have killed Pucci.
Or joined him. I mean, you don't know how the story would have went.
Yeah. I feel like putting Jotaro in there makes sense based on the fact that that's Jolene's driving force, right? Mm-hmm. And the sort of like interactions between them and kind of like what happened in their relationship was really good.
Yeah.
But besides that, Jotaro doesn't do much in the part. What if they just did both?
I feel like if Jotaro at least like made a cameo,
there's a video,
it would have been nice.
There's a video on YouTube from Caleb IA where he talks about a situation where during the Made in Heaven fight, Giorno shows up because of like the whole Children of Dio being attracted to Pucci thing.
Yeah.
And like what would how the situation would play out. It's really interesting to hear someone's take on it and what they think would happen. Yeah. So I recommend that video if you want to watch it.
I think it would have been neat if Giorno showed up and then it was proven that Gold Experience Requiem does not exist anymore. And
if Giorno showed up, he would have to.
Because otherwise he would have had to lose Requiem. Otherwise, he would have showed up in
He would be like, "Oh, that's cute. You're trying to."
It would have been really interesting if Giorno showed up like all of other Dio shows at the same time, and they all had like that meeting. And Giorno was like, "Dude, you're whack. I'm getting the fuck out of here," and goes back to Italy. Right? that would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Because at least that, because it doesn't make any sense that Jorno didn't show up. Like, he's fucking, like, what? How old is he at this point? Like, 25? I don't know.
Yeah,
He's gotta
25.
be something like that.
He's 25.
He's an old man. Not really, but he's
25
still a
old
mafioso,
man. 25
right?
old man Crusader 2019.
He's still the mafioso. What the fuck is he doing in Italy that's so important that he can resist going to see Pucci?
Well, apparently he was already there.
Yeah. Like,
Exactly,
he went
but he doesn't show up.
Yeah.
I feel like he should have showed up to make some kind of appearance. I think
just a cameo at least would have been nice.
I've always wanted this, right? Because technically we've had Jonathan, Joseph, and Jotaro all team up in one fight, because, like, you know, Jonathan's basically just Star Platinum, right? I really wanted to see Josuke, Giorno, and Jolie. That would have been sick.
Been cool.
There's like drawings of that, like what would happen. It's a little
Yeah.
unrealistic, because like, why would Josuke be there?
No, yeah, it's 100% unrealistic. But it'd still be cool as fuck to see.
I mean, it'd probably just be like Jotaro like calling for backup, like, "Hey Josuke, no, I haven't talked in a minute, but like I really need your."
They made a
It
good
would have been
reason,
interesting.
though. They made a good reason for why he didn't do that, because he thinks
Yeah.
Josuke's like super unreliable.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He should have called Koichi because Koichi's a reliable guy.
Koichi is. He truly is a reliable guy.
He was also out
feel
of
like
commission
Koichi
for
made a
like
difference
the
to the-
entire part.
Koichi
So why did
could've
he
made a
call him
difference.
in at the last minute? Why didn't he just, like, you know, dial up the fucking Power Rangers, right? Just be like, guys, we gotta go.
Because who's the Power Ranger at this point? Like, you know, that you call Koichi.
You call fucking Rohan.
I guess Rohan, yeah. Maybe Josuke and Okuyasu just to have them there. But I feel like if Koichi was there
body shields.
at the end of at the Maiden Heaven fight, if Koichi was there, it would have made such a huge difference because he could have just Act 3 all over Pucci,
Yeah.
and then it'd be over.
Yeah, I think
Like, yeah, sure,
putting
he
Jiro in
can-
there kind of messes things up. Like, you know, why does he call X person, X person, next person, right? Because he's made so many contacts over the years,
Yeah.
right?
Why
And of
couldn't
course,
he call
like,
Kakyoin?
why doesn't Giorno show?
Well, there's also
Yeah,
the time,
Jeeva.
the time that it would take them to get there.
Yeah, they wouldn't have made it in time
I guess, yeah.
Maybe
because
he did.
they're all in Japan.
Maybe
Everybody
he
was
did
thinking it was in
call them.
Japan.
Yeah, I guess.
He didn't call Rohan
But-
though, because he was still writing manga.
Wasn't Rohan mentioned like right at the end?
Yeah, it's because he's the only mangaka who could make the deadline, despite time like a day going by in like 5 seconds.
Rohan.
Funny enough, Rohan's probably the only one to have survived. He was just too busy writing manga, dude.
We're not going to get into that yet.
that's for the next episode.
But yeah, should we do final thoughts? Or did anyone else?
I think so.
No,
Do we have anything
I
else
hate
we want
part 6. It sucked ass. I mean, no, it wasn't bad per se.
All right. Well then, what is it at then?
It's not that part 6 is bad. It's just I feel like
Disappointing.
there's such a disconnect from every other part
Yeah.
because like what's really happening? Like there wasn't
What is happening, Crusader 29?
because at first I was confused really what the tension was for the whole time. Like what's the conflict? Because at first I thought it was like, oh, Pucci is trying to resurrect Dio somehow with this bone. But then I was like, no, wait, Pucci is trying to become Dio? And then I was like, wait, no, Pucci's trying to attain heaven? What the fuck? And it doesn't really make sense what heaven is. It's never really explained
Yeah.
like what Pucci's idea of attaining heaven is. And I guess it never really is explained, and he never really gets there.
Not
so-
until the video game.
Yeah, and it's just,
Oh boy.
Well, the novel. It was a book originally.
it's just,
Oh,
it's weird. Like part 6 was a wild ride, and it just,
But not like a wild roller coaster like part
like,
2.
not like part 2. More, it was
it
just,
was just all over the place.
it was all over the place. It didn't really make sense all the time, and it was boring. I'm gonna say it. It was a boring part.
I
And
was
it had a
bored
really-
sometimes during it.
Yeah, it's the fight's the issue.
Yeah,
Really?
when you're in a
It was
battle show,
yeah. It's because that's like what you look forward to in a fucking
battle
you
show.
know in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Mhm.
You know, it's known ever since part 3 onwards. It's all about these flashy fight sequences. Even in the manga, like the fucking 7-page Muda. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And then, like right after that is part 6, and it's just like, you know, it doesn't feel. It's not as entertaining.
Yeah.
So I'd probably give it like a 4 or 5.
4 or
Still
5.
good.
Like, are you talking JoJo
That's-
standards?
4 or a 5. Like I'm in
Yeah.
between those
I know, but like
out of 10.
that's average. That's not good.
Well, because I'm not saying it's bad. Like, it's still a good part. I still enjoyed it for what it was. It's just it doesn't live up to the others
Okay.
So it's
at
that.
all.
It's that in terms of JoJo.
What?
It's that
like-
the score that you gave it is in terms of like a JoJo part.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like keep in mind, four is not great, and then five is average, right? None of those are.
Like, it wasn't the worst. It wasn't terrible, but it's still the worst part.
Okay.
Well, I would disagree. I think it's the
Yeah.
second worst.
Yeah.
What's the worst
I
part to you guys then?
I'd say part 3 is the second worst.
I'd say part 1's the worst.
I think we can all not
Well,
chief.
except Crusader.
Part 1 is the best.
Part 1 is the best. Part 5 is a 10. Part 5 or 1 is a
Well,
like a 5.
I think it's just like looking back on part 1, it was so cool, and I just love Jonathan. He's my favorite JoJo. He's such a good boy. You know what I mean? We don't deserve Jonathan.
We don't. We really don't.
We never did deserve Jonathan.
He's a good man.
No one
He's
ever.
the best JoJo.
Yeah.
So that's
well,
over now. We're done talking about JoJo.
Well, hold on, Armando.
How
What
long
would
have we
you
been here for?
I would give it about a 7 out of 10. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I have my issues with it, but overall, I think it was still fairly well written. The characters were great.
The characters definitely hold.
Mhm.
I think though, if the anime can make the fight scenes entertaining, that's like an easy 8 or 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah.
Easy.
If they could
They
make
will.
Yo-Yo-Ma passable,
If they make Yo-Yo-Ma good, I'll just give it a 10 right there.
They can just skip Yo-Yo Ma, honestly.
No.
I mean, Yo-Yo Ma was really hard to read.
yeah.
Yeah. That's where I kind of went on a hiatus for like
Even
the
I
reading. I'm
just
like,
kind of skimmed
even-
past it.
even the friends that we have that really like Part 6, they agree that the fights, especially Yo-Yo-Ma, are not good.
oh, Yo-Yo-Ma. Ooh. I almost.
Yeah.
Well-
you agree, Kyle?
Yeah.
All right. So
I mean,
that's the end.
So I
of
guess
our
it's all
discussion about
JoJo.
Part 6. Yeah. That's the
part
main,
7. No.
That's the main
Uh,
universe and our thoughts.
Yeah.
About it.
I mean, do we want to talk about what you guys think about them resetting the universe or whatever?
That could be an entirely. Well, I thought it was okay.
I don't know. Because going into part 7, the reason why I did want to read it is just like there's no connection to anything before, right? It's just like I may as well just be reading a whole new manga, right? Which I know, like you want to read new things, but
I thought
It's-
it was
it's a reboot, but it's not, right? Like,
I thought it was a good
Yeah.
way to end Part 6 and that whole main.
yeah, I think it's a good way
universe.
to end part 6, but I feel like they should just ended JoJo.
Originally,
like,
originally that's what it was because Steel Ball Run
Yeah.
was not billed as Part 7 yet.
no, yeah,
But yeah,
like
Part 7's pretty cool so far, though. I'm enjoying
yeah.
it.
I'm only like 17 chapters. It's good.
it's my favorite JoJo part.
It's
of all
everyone's
of them.
favorite JoJo part, pretty much. Let's be
Well, unless you're in Japan, because then it's Part 5. Because they don't like Steel Ball Run as much as Western audiences do.
good. I mean,
I wonder why.
Buddha.
I mean, it seems cool, but I at the same time, like I just miss what it used to be.
Yeah,
It's sad that like everything we've ever known is completely
just
gone.
gone. Yeah, like there's just
At least it carried on with what Steel Ball Run is. And
Yeah.
Part 8 is one of my favorites as well. So I'm okay with it.
yeah.
But yeah,
Well, I mean,
So how long have we been here
that's
for?
probably it. Yeah.
we've been here for like an hour
First
and a half,
episode,
2 hours.
Podcast.
Yeah, I think that's enough.
Sponsored by no one, because did you really think we were sponsored? We're not.
Yeah, that was
Well,
our
we'll probably
discussion
do
with
this-
JoJo.
Probably weekly, right? This one's kind of going to be a different episode just because
If
Crusaders
Shogun doesn't forget.
just finished JoJo. And the future episodes will kind of be like we kind of just talk about.
It's sort of
Basically whatever comes to
generalized,
mind.
Whatever topic
Yeah,
you think of.
like for example, this one was just all JoJo. That's probably not going to be the case. Like we're probably not going to do an episode that's dedicated to one thing for a while. With the exception of maybe like Destiny's new expansion coming out in like a month. We'll probably do something. Let's be real. Maybe not you, Armando, because you have Destiny.
Someone can sub for me.
Yeah, we'll get Dargan in you. But that's probably gonna be it for this episode. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You can find this on What?
Uh,
Where can we find this?
Whatever YouTube channel that you are watching this on, you'll find it here. And the Spotify account that you're currently listening to this on.
Okay, but how do they find it?
Go on Spotify and search up Podcast Crusaders.
Okay. Well, so Crusader, where can everyone find you?
At my house at home, chilling like a bitch.
Okay. Everyone, where can everyone find you?
YouTube.com/darkshogun. Just
Right.
kidding. Because I don't have a custom URL.
You can find me at Twitch at Worst Panther, and same on. And yeah, that's gonna be the podcast, lads.
Awesome.
Thanks for listening, whatever.